Good evening, everyone. How are you guys? Gabs here, What's in the Glass, Digital Beer Streams. Welcome. Happy Monday, actually. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday if you are in a pub, if you are at home, in your living room, if you are somewhere in a beer garden. I say pub, I should have said beer garden. Anyway, welcome, guys. For the first time, I hear myself. I apologize for that. I think the reason is because I had the window open somewhere else. But welcome. My name is Gabs. If you haven't seen me before, I'm a beer guy. I'm based in London. I've been doing shows similar to this one for probably a year now. It was last summer, and I probably managed to speak with some of the most interesting people within the industry, and we keep going like that. This is the way. We want to share people's opinion. We want to share the industry thoughts about what is going on, how things are, and What's in the Glass is the umbrella term where all of these happen. And we do have different activities. One is digital beer streams. What you're watching now is a non-promotional live stream show, and we, as I said, talking with whoever we think can really making great things, can make a difference within our industry, the hospitality, the beer and the brewing industry especially. And we also have Turning the Tide, which is a show. It goes out every Thursday of this month around 7 p.m. So check it out. This is not the right place to talk about that. This is the right place to talk about beer people, beer legends, people that I know personally, I met somewhere online, I met, in beer festivals, in pubs. There are many different ways when you are part of a beer industry, meeting your friends, your legends up and down the city and the country. And you can tell I'm all black dressed, and I'm also going to drink a pretty black beer, which is a black IPA from Villages. And I decided to go for this type of beer and this type of color on myself for today, because we're gonna meet Rich White. Funny enough, that's his surname. And Rich White is a pretty legendary figure within the London brewing scene. He's been a head brewer for a very long time for a very pretty famous North London brewery, and which is London Brewing Co. And I met him numerous times in some of the best pubs in the city. We always have great conversation about music, about beer, about how the industry looks like in the two sides of the world, America, Europe, or if you prefer, UK. And this is his new project. Werewolf Beer is a brewery that is going to be existing very, 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 very shortly. This is a matter of making sure that all of his plans are going the right way. He does have a crowdfunding campaign on at the moment, and which I invite everyone to check it out through the socials, his page and stuff. And most important, the brewery is going to be in Camden Town. And if you are aware of the time we're living right now, and if you know how important it is to have decent beer made by decent people around the city, this is why you have to support this man and his project. If you can also making sure you're helping me to welcome him on the show, Rich is here. Hello.
Hi, Gab.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. Really glad to be on, and hopefully I can tell you guys about what I've been up to, and it'll make a good chat.
It's the first time that actually the video restarted in another platform that I haven't closed before, and I'm thinking like must be the day and the pubs are reopening or something like that. Welcome, and Rich. I know most of the people watching us today know pretty well about you, who you are, what you're doing. But just in case there are someone that never had a pleasure to meet you before in London, in good pubs or in other brewery, and could you tell us who you are and what you're doing, please?
Sure. About 2012, I came to see Frank Turner play at Wembley Arena. So that was my first trip outside the U.S., and I got my passport just so I could do that. And I came to London, but I was coming on my own, and I needed somebody to drink with because I didn't know anybody. So being the adventurous sort, I'm not the adventurous sort, but I went on his message board and looked for somebody that would talk to me or show me around London. And some very wonderful women said, I've lived here for my whole life, and if you want to come this far to see my favorite artist, then I will show you where the beer is, and I'll buy the drinks. Like, I'm that excited that somebody's coming from New York to London just for this concert. And that person is Laura Ensign. She's very nice. She's. Oh, yes. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Holy crap. I've just been. Yeah, I got it. I've just been reminded that it's. Yeah, we met for this thing. There we go. And
That's
yeah,
insane.
so we met yesterday. And if you look at my social media and stuff, we met up. We'd never seen each other before, and we went to the Houston Tap. And and I could talk about that for hours. I could talk about all of this for hours, so I'm going to cut the end of it. So we hung out. We had a really great time. We met up with tons of people and started a group called the Frank Turner Army on Facebook. And now that's, I think, like, I don't know, 15 or 20,000 people in it. But on top of that, she and I got matching tattoos in Camden Town on Sunday morning, which is what you do with a complete stranger. And then we went to Brewdog Camden and got really drunk. And then I figured I could just never see her again. But then I went home and bought a webcam. And then we talked on Skype all the time. And then we got engaged. And then we got married. And that's a whole other fun story. But so I moved here in 2013. I was working in a credit union in the US for about 10 years. So I started working at one here. But I was also working at the Pelt Trader in under Cannon Street Station. And I was working for Mark, who now runs the Evening Star in Brighton. And he let me know that Bull and Highgate was hiring an assistant brewer for London Brewing. So I went and did that. I met the head brewer. They hired me. And Jenna, she left. She's I think real ale company now. And so then I started being head brewer and helped out with the growth into the Bohemia and created a whole line of keg beers and did awesome stuff. Like my first beer was the oyster stout. They're 100 oysters. And it just went on from there. So
Not
yes,
actually a simple beer. That is a beer that won some award as well.
It did. So obviously at London Drinker, it won like best stout in London. It won a lot of times. The best bitter won quite a few things. It actually took silver medal for National Winter Ales Festival. It's a killer beer, and I'm glad that people let me stick oysters in beer.
Which is a very interesting concept. If people aren't familiar with the beautiful art of oyster stouts, and also it's a delicious beer because you really balance up everything into the liquid. And Rich, you basically wanted to make London your house. You wanted to be here. You wanted to making sure you one day going to have your own brewery or your own business. And can you tell us a bit more like the funding idea that it grows in you from the London Brewing Company days until now? How did you?
It was being in the same place for a number of years. You kind of have to move up or go out. 5 years in one place in a career is quite a long time. And I think at that point, I was kind of synonymous with the brand because I was the longest running employee. So I think it's been good that I left to start working on my own thing because they've done some really good stuff and are selling more beer and are more places. And George, their head brewer, took over from me. He's doing a really good job. So I'm really happy with with what's going on at London Brewing Company. Quick note: the Bohemia, its brew pub, is opening up on Wednesday this week. So any of you North Finchley folk, they're coming back, and it's Wings Wednesday too. So so it was time for me to go, and you know what? I'm over 40 now, and I don't have kids, so I need some kind of legacy. And London has been very kind and welcoming to me. And so I said, it's time to do a brewery that's mine. I'm sometimes a terrible employee, and so who's going to want to work with me? So I'm going to do it on my own. And so hopefully I make some good beer, and we have a really cool concept, which is the Werewolf Beer, an American brewery in London, which hopefully everybody watching this is old enough to get what that references, which is the classic 1980s horror film, An American Werewolf in London, which is 40th anniversary is this year, so keep that in mind. And we're going to make classic American-style craft beers, the kind of things that I discovered when I was in my 20s, and craft beer was starting to explode in the U.S., and there were brew pubs everywhere, and the beer was good, and did all sorts of crazy things at that time, going to beer festivals all over the northeast of the U.S. and the Great American Beer Festival in Denver, and that's kind of I want to bring that back into London a bit, because things have exploded here in the last few years, and it has its own thing. But this is what I want to do, and so jump back in the evolution a little bit and examine this kind of field.
I love the fact that someone that we know quite well, which is Natasha, managed to realize that we both have some IKEA units behind us, especially straight behind you, and with a simple collection of few vinyls in my size, a couple of more within your size, and if people doesn't know you quite well, these vinyls are part of your collection because you are a great music enthusiast. Could you tell us a bit more about that as well?
I got into probably punk rock type stuff around age 13 or 14, which I think going back, this would have been about the time where the big explosion into popular music, where Green Day, Offspring, everything hit, and Epitaph Records kind of exploded. And so my number one band forever and ever and ever, if you see the crossbuster behind me, is Bad Religion. And if I move the camera up, there's all sorts of Bad Religion stuff up there. And I have almost every record they've ever put out, which when you're a band for now almost 42 years, you've got a lot of records. But yeah, so that happened, and then I was working at Hot Topic, which a lot of people made fun of me for in the U.S. for a very long time, because it's the sellout store, it's the shopping mall place where you buy your hair dye when you're 15, and in my 20s I was a store manager there, and I just liked it because I could basically still have a blue mohawk and a leather jacket at work. I also probably didn't have to do laundry as much then either. I probably should have, but I didn't. And so I was the Syracuse, New York punk scene was dominated by hardcore, vegan, straight edge, whatnot. And I moved into town going to SU, and I decided I want to do punk rock shows. So more stuff like, I think the first show I booked was Blank 77 with the Cuffs and Heidnik Stew. It was all like oi bands, and I booked it in a community center, and they all got really drunk and kind of barfed all over everything. We got in a lot of trouble, and that didn't go over well. But I kept booking shows for several years with friends of mine, and putting out CDs and stuff. Somebody just shared a picture of the compilation CD I put out in like 2001 the other day. I haven't seen a copy in years. Wow. So lots more lots more. And again, that's how my wife was going to see Frank Turner. I've had lots of great bands sleep on my couch, and the punk rock tradition of I house them and feed them, and they do the dishes the next day. It's people you end up talking to forever, because that's how punk rock is. I had one band show up, and I had all my Bad Religion records, and they're like, "You're missing a copy of this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I can't find it on LP in the U.S." And I think maybe 8 months later, I came home from work, and there was a cardboard box on my front step, and I'm like, "Who the hell is this from?" It's from Canada. And I picked it up and opened it, and it was the missing record from my collection. And the guys from Saturday Night Heroes saw it at a record shop, and they're like, thought of Rich and sent it to me. So, or leftover crack staying at my place one night, the Casualties, all these kind of 90s and 2000s bands that are maybe a little passé. They're from the big spiky-haired drunk punk explosion of the 2000s in the U.S., where everybody dressed like it was 1982 in the UK.
Yep. Well, I love the crossover between your passion for beer, being in Syracuse and in the US, and then in the UK, London, the music passion that you do have, and that these are all elements that are continuing crossover between two worlds, and it really make you stand up as a creative person within the brewing industry, in my opinion, because your attitude has already seen some of these collaborations and passions on elements. So I'm interested and intrigued to hear as well, if for you, beer and music are having some crossovers, like creativity rather than community. How do you feel about that?
I guess there's a lot of parallels. The first is that brewing, industrial brewing is, you could say that it's very process driven, and it's, machinery, and doing the same thing over and over again. But parts of it are still, it's a creative process. And at the end of the day, you made something. And then on more our scale, the things that we're probably into, it's infinitely more creative, because you're making different beers all the time. A lot of times, it's like being a filmmaker. You're an auteur. Is that the word? Auteur, where you're controlling every part of the process. You're designing, you're coming up with the concept. Right now, I'm doing the social media and the business and the everything. And so the final product is completely controlled by me. And in many breweries, that's kind of the way it is. It's something I've found out recently. I went to Syracuse University for illustration, because I was going to be a comic book artist. So that was the plan since I don't know how young. And that's not what happened. We're not going to go into that. But I haven't really done much art in years, like years and years and years and years and years. And recently I've started going to life drawing classes again with Michaela, that brews over at, she's at Beerable now. And so we do drawing classes and stuff. And another friend of mine who is kind of a business coach has been talking to me, and we've kind of decided I'm a bit of I'm kind of a stifled creative. And so a lot of frustration has come out of not having a creative outlet to do things. And starting the brewery was tough. Like, it was hard to get going. And now that we kind of understand that, it's a lot easier to get what kind of energy needs to go into this. And that's kind of the parallel of punk rock, is it's do it yourself. If you want something done a certain way, or you want to show people something, or you want to talk about something, you do it. You don't wait for somebody else to do it. And this is me not waiting for somebody else to do it. The communities are the same. It's very people driven. There are personalities. There are people that stand out, but it's not just the people that stand out. It's not just the lead singer. It's the people that are taking pictures. It's people like you that are doing video series. So there's all sorts of different people that make it happen, just like a punk scene or any other kind of music scene.
I love this, and also like it answer partially the question that maybe friends of you or people that within this industry could easily come and asking you. Very, very simple question: how crazy you are to start a new brewery during such a crazy time? You know?
Yeah, I mean, if we want to make a werewolf joke, we could say it's lunacy. But I basically, I left London Brewing around the time I turned 40, so it was like 2019, and I really thought I was going to be able to be working on this project while I was finishing up working there, and I found out that's not true. I really, for one person to do this, I needed to spend a lot of time, a lot of energy. It took a long time before I could even start outputting any good ideas, and so it took a while, and things were starting to come together about the beginning of 2020. And I went home to visit for a bit, went back to Syracuse and Whitesboro. Yes, Whitesboro, New York, with all the Americans. And and things were going really well. And I had a plan. We looked at property and we're like, yeah, I'll get in there by April or May of this year. And got back, and honestly, I'm lucky I made it in the country because the airports were shutting down as I was coming in. And I mean, it sounds, this is a horrible thing to say, but it's worked out well for me because it's stalled everything, give me enough time to put everything together properly. If I had to go ahead at the beginning of 2020, I don't think everything would be working out as well. Everything's coming due at once, but everything is planned. Everything is going the way it's supposed to. And so I've had a lot of time to think. It's goofed up other things like actually getting the railway arch construction underway. There's still nothing done with it. It's just a shell that hasn't been inhabited for 30 years. And the arch company has a lot of work to do on it. And so that's what I'm waiting on right now.
Wow. Hold on a second. You almost we are sharing the presence into this magic club of the people during a lockdowns and pandemic haven't stopped a second to work, probably not even a day. I mean, there were days that I just said enough. I just couldn't say enough for too long, so I had to jump in and do my things anyway. I'm glad that it worked that way for you, and I'm glad that you managed to take the best out these very disruptive times. And nothing wrong if people just wanted to stay home doing nothing or doing things in their own time. I'm glad you also managed to consider all the elements for your projects. And if people aren't, ready yet to know what is going on, you do have a brewery now coming up, and the brewery is going to be in a specific area of London, which is reconnecting as well with your culture and what you like. And there is also something running, which is the crowdfunding campaign, right? Can you tell us a bit more about that, please, Rich?
Yeah. We're crowdfunding to try and raise £30,000 right now. We got about 2 weeks left, and there's a couple of reasons for this goal-wise. We really, after talking to other breweries and other people helping us plan the business and advising, getting a canning line it was something I was going to wait a couple of years to get rolling with. But if anything happens, we get locked down again. Some breweries only survived because they were able to shift what they were doing in trade sales to direct customer sales. And so it's future-proofing, and it's just something we need to do to make sure we survive if anything else happens. The other is, when I said there's a lot to go on with this railway arch, as they keep going through it, they keep finding more and more things that just aren't there. There's no water. There's no three-phase electric. There's no drains. There's no. So I've already put significant amount of money into getting toilets where they're supposed to be, but there's still a lot of construction left. And until I get in there, we're not going to know exactly what it is, but it's not going to be cheap. This is some major construction works. So that's the big stuff for us. But again, there's been a lot of negotiations and using solicitors and specialists to consult on things, and that's been also pretty pricey as well. I mean, we'll be able to survive if we don't get this, but it'll make life a lot easier if we've got this in the tank to start off.
And you're not just there saying to people, hey, if you got if you would like to support us, this is where you can go, this is what's happening, blah blah blah. You are telling the potential helpers that can jump and give you support through the crowdfunding campaign to also have a look at all of the fantastic rewards that you offer in them. And I saw some of them which are really, really intriguing, like good stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things was basically the launch of the crowdfund was the launch of us saying we're going to be in Camden Town. Also, here's our brand new logo, which is awesome. I apologize, you're still wearing the old logo shirt. We'll get you a new one. Don't worry. And yeah, we've also we're really feeling welcomed to have other places support us by giving us prizes and things to give away. So Pete at Lost Boys Pizza in Camden, the world's only vampire pizzeria, is please check them out. Has given us stuff to give away. We've got take-it-home pizza and cocktail kits, which I highly recommend. I had them for my birthday, and they were so good. So it's 2 pizzas and 4 cocktails, and they deliver them anywhere in the UK. I'm pretty sure I saw somebody, Stephen, you're there, and you are one of the big Whitby Goth people. And so please let the Goths know that they can get a black pizza delivered. I've got 2 left. They're 65 pounds, and they're absolutely delicious. So please share that. We got Alan Graves, who owns Haunted Tattoo down on Holloway Road. He's a super nice guy, super punk rock guy. And I went and got a werewolf tattoo from him a couple of months ago. And he was like, if you need something done, let me know. And the last few weeks, he's been great and has come up with a really awesome original T-shirt design for us. And so you can get that through the crowdfund right now. It's really, really badass. We've got anything you can think of. We've got beer discounts, so you can actually buy a bar tab at a bit of a discount and also get your name on our founders wall. Businesses, if you think we can work together, we have 1, 2, and 3 year corporate sponsorship. So we can come up with a way to help promote you and you promote us. And somebody actually, after the last one, gave us £900 for 2 years. So I'm not going to know who that is until the end of the crowdfund. I really hope they're cool. And it's not like if it's a dentist's office, that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I hope it's something a bit more rock and roll, but dentist office or whoever you are, thank you very much for that £900. We're going to do awesome stuff for you. One of the other big supporters we've had is Pascal Avenue, who I might have mentioned before a lot, all the time, who are an American Philly cheesesteak restaurant in Fitzrovia. And they make the best wings and the best cheesesteaks. And they actually, because of lockdown, they perfected their love bundles. So you can actually get all the stuff and cook it at home. Even the bread, they send it vacuum packed, and you can bake the hoagie rolls at home and make a cheesesteak. And they're so good. And basically, anybody that's put in at least 10 quid, and anybody going forward that pledges another £10 or buys a reward, is in it for drawing that ends this Friday to get one of these sent to you. So if you're in the UK, you get sent to your house next day anywhere. So it's really, really worth it. They're usually about 50 pounds. And the food is so good. So especially if you're an American in the UK, who just misses those things, this will bring you back to the US. It's good food. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. What else have we got in there? Prizes that kind of tickled your fancy?
I remember then on your price list, you also do have opportunities, to reserve. You do have one day which is like it's gonna be the name of the person who gave you the support into some can't remember exactly, like credits or something like that. But,
I think it was the evil curse.
Yeah, that's the one. Well, I've got it in front of me, so I can check it out. Yeah,
no, sorry. Pull it up. Basically, we tried to do it for a cheap one that was easy for people to do, and do it as £6.66.
Yeah.
We'll get. So we try to do £6.66. Crowdfunder won't let you do decimal places. So for £7, you can have me do a curse or a hex on somebody or something, and put it into the beer as we're brewing it, and videotape it, and put it up on social media for your crappy boss, or you name it, or a kind of more of a blessing or a good curse. And so if you've got somebody that's going to be going off to university or starting a new job or any of those kind of things, you want to give a shout out to your friends in lockdown once we get going, we can do that too. Like I said, we couldn't do 666. So if you really, really, really want the 34p back, I'll give it to you in bar credit. But yeah, you can also, for £666, you can actually name one of our tanks.
Yeah.
So your name, slogan, or whatever else you want to put on it, keep it sort of plain. Everybody. We'll put that on the tanks, and that will live there, and you can tell everybody about it every time you come in, because you're going to come in and bring your friends, and you're going to drink beer all the time. Please.
It's an endless list of rewards. I've seen few crowdfunding campaigns, but you've been very mad with it. And also, for everyone that want to hear exactly the technical of the brewery that you are building right now, there are the details. And if they're looking for more details, they can find you all your social media channels and be in touch with you and find out and realize all the beautiful things that you're doing. And I also realize you've been brewing some beers as well. With what's that? Okay, you show me that, please.
Yeah, I got yelled at by the creator. So this is, I'm trying to get it in the frame. Hold on. I'm really not good with reverse. So this is the prototype of Psycho Billy, the werewolf, and he's even got a bushy tail. So we've got 3 of these up for grabs. They're only made on full moons. And basically, now he's got lots of other brewery buttons on, but he'll have brewery buttons and a Werewolf Beer patch on his biker vest. And I think the mohawk will be like a fluffy pink. So those are 75 proof. They are not a toy, because there are small parts that might pose a choking hazard to children. So this is a collectible, handmade plush. Not
Especially for pubs. Can you imagine having something like that behind the bar, like on top of, where the bell is? That will work fantastically. So I'm sure it's going to go in good houses. And you've been brewing this time a bit. I saw in your crowdfunding campaign page about some of the beers that you also made. I don't know if you haven't managed to create something on Werewolf Beer, Rose and Crown. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yep, nope, you are. So the Rose and Crown in Kentish Town, who are super awesome North London craft beer bar, let me work in a room in the basement. So I set up my pilot kit there, and I was able to crank out 2 batches, one of Psycho Billy American Pale Ale, which basically we put it on, and the keg sold out in, like, I don't know, half an hour. It really flew. People were really happy with it. And then the next one we got through was our Rye IPA horror show. Unfortunately, that was the last one we did because after that, the last lockdown came and just couldn't sell beer through there. It came out really good. We're really happy with the beer. They were happy with the beer, but there's just no way to sell takeaway anymore. So, yeah, by the way, they're reopening today. So get to the Rose and Crown because they're awesome. And yeah, it was really good beer. So that's kind of unfortunately now I've got to focus on getting the big brewery open.
Well, let me put it in this way. How do you feel about the situation where we are right now? I'm aware, as we said, few pubs are reopening today just with the outside area. I know maybe there are some watchers from US and they want to know a bit more about what's happening in here. And are you positive about our present situation for within the brewing industry and pub industry, hospitality industry, or there is still much to do in your opinion, Rich?
In general, I'm cautiously optimistic because it looks like people are getting the vaccines, and the UK is starting to even out. Beer and hospitality and pubs just didn't get the help they needed. They got treated different than everybody else, and so the entire supply chain was destroyed. I don't know how many pubs are just not open again, which means they're not going to buy beer. So there are entire breweries that aren't going to open again. The U.S. hasn't really shut down, but not like things shut down here. I mean, I see people are still going out and still going to restaurants, and things have dipped, but it's not like the way restaurants got closed here. So I really hope we're on the right track. I think the government needs to do more about just helping things out, and then also making sure in general things don't get worse again.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I really hope, and it's not just for me, but basically we're looking to open in July, August, or September, depending on when the utility companies are able to get the works done. And I'm hoping that by that time, things are fairly normal. If it's still outside spaces only, we've got about a 1,400 square foot yard, which we're allowed to have 50 people in. So if we have to be outside, we'll be okay. So that's fingers crossed. We'll also, yeah. Shall we talk about the ghost train?
Please do it.
Okay. So I've been really tight with money because I don't have any. I have money for the brewery, but I don't touch it, and I only use it for things we absolutely have to have, except for one thing. Except we absolutely had to have it, which was a friend in Norwich showed us a picture of one of the Magdalen Street curiosity shops, and it was skull train cars and a giant mummy and a giant spider and all this stuff because Rainbow Park had torn down their Nightmare Haunted Ghost Ride, and I bought all of the stuff. I bought all of the stuff. It's in a warehouse, and so basically our tap room and brewery yard is going to be adorned with giant skull train cars and big, vampires and guys in coffins and witches. Yeah, so yeah, you find me another place you're going to get that at a brewery.
And also with a good soundtrack and good beer, which is putting all of these things together in an area like Camden Town. Then I had to be honest, lost it in these years a bit of that fascinating punk metal vibe. There are still punk heads and metal heads around North London, especially in the area where I am as well. And, we still there are people moving to London and coming to London expecting to see that vibe as well. So honestly, that would be a remarkable piece of Camden, probably a classic, postmodern classic or something like that.
I hope so. We're right in the middle. I mean, it's honestly it's a 1 minute walk to Camden Road Overground. It's about a 2 minute walk to Regent's Canal Path. 5 minute walk to the underground Camden Brewdog. We're right next to Camden Road Draft House, which is now the Camden Road Arms.
Yep.
And we're underneath the disused rail line, which they're hopefully, if things go well, turning it into the Camden High Line project. So that's going to run from Camden Market to King's Cross, and I think almost over to Hamilton. So basically, it'll be kind of between Camden Brewery, us, Two Tribes, and Hamilton. So it's going to be a really, really cool thing, just like the one they, well, it's by the same people that did the one in the Skyline in Manhattan.
Wow!
So
wow!
North London gets a bit of a beer mile.
Very exciting, very, very interesting. I'm sure we've managed to give everyone a clear idea of what you got in mind and how big your project is, and also how important it is for this city and for the culture of the city as well, because London is in desperate need of culture, find and remind his own identity rather than existing just as a, place as it's been in these last years. So I'm glad there are people like you, and I'm glad that we've both decided to stay in this city and see things going mad in a good way. And I'm just super thankful that you wanted to jump on the stream with me today. Rich has been super great to hear. I knew about your project, but I didn't know all of these details. It's such a clear timeline, and it's brilliant. And I invite everyone to check it out, the campaign, which I'm going to show one more time. You have a good dream.
So, crowdfunder.co.uk/werewolf beer. So basically, we're Werewolf Beer on everything: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest.
You on TikTok as well?
Hey, yeah.
I love it.
I will figure it out. If I have to learn how to dance, I'm going to use TikTok. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's going to happen.
Do you mean like mosh pit, or you mean like kind of different type of any dance? There we go. Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait to have a pint with you. I can't wait to see you in a pub. As someone knows, I got a few days left in North London, and if it's the right time, I'll give you a call and we meet somewhere around. I know, but I'll still be able to pop in up and down the line. So it's all good. This is my house. This is my home. And
yeah. Well, listen, I'm going out flyering the next couple of days, so I've got flyers that need to go into the pubs because people are going to be sitting outside staring in the pub windows while they drink, and those pub windows need to have Werewolf Beer posters. So
why not? Yeah. We can do something like that. That's an interesting one, I'm telling you. Well, Rich, thank you very much again. I hope everyone had a great time as much as I did. And we do have a long week in front of us. Enjoy pubs consciously, go to beer gardens, and most important, support Werewolf Beer and give Rich an excuse to come back and brew fantastic beer for the city of London and the rest of the world. Thank you, man. Thanks a lot for being here. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great evening.
Bye, everyone.